wheel. Shitty. Got a shitty wheel. What's up? Good morning, guys. I got an update to my lack of memory in the package that auction that I had. I reached out to them, and apparently somebody else got my 40 sticks and I got their 14. So they came to an agreement. They didn't have on hand the 26 sticks to replace the ones they didn't send me. So they agreed to send me a bunch of other RAM they had. And this should be interesting because I was only missing 104 gigabytes of RAM, and I forget what I'll have to add it up after, but I ended up getting way more RAM, way more than 104 gigabytes of RAM. But as you can see, the FedEx was nice to my package again. They send it out square and it comes in slanted on one edge. It's more aerodynamic. It gets to you faster when you got that nose on the front like that. Well, let's see what they sent me. They were actually pretty quick about it, and I felt it was pretty fair here. Hopefully it's all not so. Hopefully it's the right RAM though, not that it's laptop RAM. But RAM is RAM, I guess. More bubble wrap. More bubble wrap. And it doesn't, they sent me the same amount of, well, I was missing 26 sticks, but I told them 24, and there was a 2 gigabyte stick, which should have been a 4 gigabyte. What are you doing on here, dog? And they ended up sending me the same amount of sticks that I was missing. Well, almost. They sent me 20, we agreed upon 25 sticks is what they had at hand, on hand. They didn't spare no expense on the bubble wrap this time, boy. Jeez Louise. Is this a bubble wrap envelope? And it's all the RAM that I like. None of that fancy crap that ain't gonna work in office systems or run at the speeds that they should. Like that Corsair crap. Let's see. Well, they should have been. It should be 25 sticks, but I told them it was 26, so maybe they threw another stick in. I don't know. We'll see what we got here for sticks. Be careful with your RAM. I'll have to figure out what it is. All is later, but I don't even know what the heck this is. This doesn't even say. Oh, yeah, like here. It was all supposed to be 14 gigabyte sticks. There's a 16 gigabyte stick of DDR4, an 8 gigabyte stick of DDR4, another 8 gigabyte stick of DDR4, another 8 gigabyte stick of DDR4, another 8 gigabyte stick of DDR4. Ooh, a 16 gigabyte stick of DDR4. 3200U DIMM. 4 gigabyte. This is DDR3. That was the thing, they threw in some DDR3 instead of the DDR4 RAM, but I was getting way more DDR4 gigabytes. There's another 8 gigabyte DDR4. 4 gigabytes of DDR4. 4 gigabyte DDR4. 4 gigabyte DDR4. Here is There's an 8 gigabyte DDR3L. There's another 8 gigabyte of DDR3. That was the thing. Well, there's a 4 gigabyte. 8 gigabyte of DDR3. 16 gigabyte of DDR4. 8 gigabyte DDR3. 16 gigabyte DDR4. 16 gigabyte of DDR4. What? 16 gigabyte sticks. Jeez Louise. 8 gigabytes of DDR4. Another 8 gigabytes of DDR3. 16 gigabytes DDR4. Let me move this down. These are all 16 gigabyte sticks. So this worked out pretty good in my favor for somebody else getting my RAM. I got higher capacity sticks. There's another 16 gigabyte. Why do these look so funny? I guess I know all the DDR4 I got. DDR is there's another 16 gigabyte DDR4. So this worked out pretty dang good. So I got 16, these are all 16 gigabytes. 8 gigabyte of DDR4. What are these over here? 4 gigabytes. 8 gigabytes. DDR4. So we got 5, 10, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 25 sticks, and we have, I got it all here. So yeah, this worked out pretty good. Pretty pleased with what they sent me, even though it's not all DDR4, but I got, in the end, I got 3 4 gigabyte sticks for 12 of DDR4. I don't know what speed it is, 2666. I got 9 8 gigabyte sticks of DDR4 for 72 gigabytes. And then I got 7 16 gigabyte sticks of DDR4 for 112 gigabytes total. For a grand total of all the DDR4, I got 196 gigabytes. And I was only missing 104 gigabytes of 26 4 gigabyte sticks. And then then they threw this other DDR3 RAM in there to kind of make up for the sticks I was missing. I don't know. Either way, it's not too bad. I ended up with 5 8 gigabyte sticks of DDR3 and then 1 4 gigabyte for a total of 44 gigabytes. And what would that be for a total? 240 gigabytes total, and I was only short 104 gigabytes. So all in all, I was pretty happy with their, even though somebody else got my RAM and I was shafted, but it worked out better for me in the end. Way better, because I'd rather have larger. I mean, I got 1 computer, 2 computers. I mean, how many gigabytes do you need? 32 gigabytes nowadays is enough. And how many motherboards only got 2 slots? Sure, it's not the fancy schmancy LED Corsair overpriced crap. I think it's all the same on the inside. It's just a fancy wrapper on the outside. But so yeah,